Good morning, everyone. This is Alee Attoe, coach and instructor with Best Life Creation Society, and my summer morning program, Start Your Day the Best Life Way. I'm really excited to talk with you about this topic today, probably because as I'm kind of meditating on it and mulling it over, realizing, hi Jen, how powerful it is for me personally. So I'm tearing up a little bit just talking about it. So you might see me cry today. We'll see. So I want to talk today about this idea of diversity and how incredibly free we are to choose the things that feel good to us, to sift and sort out what it is that we prefer. I have this card today. I was thinking, maybe I'll find something to talk about today in the Getting Into the Vortex cards, which are these guys right here. And this card actually was right on top because it's come up a lot recently. And it says, billions of us are living in perfect diversity. So here's the card, and you can see all these beautiful hands that are like plants, reaching out to each other, growing beautifully, all different colors, and it's a very cool looking card. Hi, Jacqueline. And it says on the back, the diversity of your planet is of tremendous value and benefit because from variety springs all new ideas and expansion. Without diversity, there would be complacency and endedness. You are billions of people living the perfect diversity, just as you knew you would, constantly asking for improvement and thereby setting up for the next generation that improved life experience. If you understood that and no longer clamored for one right way to live, in quotation marks, things would go better for you sooner. I love this because I was also thinking of, another Abraham quote that the basis of your life is absolute freedom. When we are really aligned with our inner being, we do experience absolute freedom, and that can be the foundation or the basis of our life. That the purpose of our life is joy, and the result of our life is expansion. And what this card is telling us, what Abraham is telling us about diversity is that, the ability to sift and sort your preferences, the ability to follow through on the inspirations that come from your inner being that might look really different than anything else. That you could receive an idea, or you could have an idea, something that's burning inside of you that's different than anything else that anyone's ever seen in this present generation. And, and to just knowing that your inner being supports that kind of diversity, it supports that kind of freedom, I think is really powerful. I know when I talk about it, I just feel this sense of relief and openness and expansion. And what I love about this too is when we kind of come from this idea that our inner being, that our source, not only like accepts diversity, but is pulling it out of us, is allowing us to figure out exactly what it is we want without having to worry about what anyone else thinks, then it really does give us the freedom to get really comfortable in who we are, and, really find that place of alignment, to feel grounded and empowered in whatever it is that's coming to us. Jen says diversity is so beautiful, it allows expansion. And if you think about it, it's so easy looking backwards. It's so easy to see where someone or groups of people started having diverse thoughts, and it seemed crazy at the time. At some point in time, women not wearing hoop skirts was crazy. That was like a revolutionary idea, that you wouldn't wear these super tight corsets that could make you literally faint. We toured some old houses this summer on our vacation and, noted all the fainting couches that, had to be present in the home for the poor women who couldn't breathe and would swoon and fall over. Which, is so hard to imagine a society that would kind of make you do that. Well, at some point in time, it was a diverse idea. It was a bit of an upstart idea to switch out of hoop skirts and into something else. And now we look back and it just seems so silly. Like now, some women's actually still, it's like a fashion for some women to wear corsets. And we're like, sure, go for it, or wear pants or shorts, whatever, right? It's not even that ability to sift and sort what you wear to up to a certain point does not cause us any stress or any, we just, oh, that's just your choice. It's not a big deal. So, we can look back where these ideas seem so revolutionary to give people more choice, more options in a kind of a general way. And knowing that so many times it was someone's alignment, their connection to their selves, their connection to their inner being, where this idea would be inspired and say, hey, I really think, that whatever this is going on, that I prefer something different. And, a lot of times it was people choosing to follow that inspiration that changed things, that made us live in the world that we live in today. Jen says we all come from one source, and it's a source of pure love and light. Absolutely. And so with this, we all have things that come up I'll back up with this. We're all, as a whole, continuing to move into expansion. And that means that there is just more and more and more and more diversity. Sometimes this scares people. It scared people in every generation. That's not a new thing, to be afraid of change. But that fear usually comes from a place where there isn't that broader perspective that we're part of the universe expanding, and that as long as we're connected to our inner being and our source, that we personally will be just fine. We will ride those changes just fine when we're in alignment. And when we're in that space of alignment, when there is something, it's completely fine for us to say, I do prefer this and I don't prefer that, right? If you see someone else living out their diversity, it's fine. You don't have to feel forced to go do what they're doing if it doesn't feel good to you. Like, I'm not going to be one of the women who's trying out corsets in this day and age. It's just not for me. The other part of that, though, is seeing that diversity. If you're aligned with your inner being, finding a place to appreciate that someone else is living out their alignment, or they're at least trying to sift and sort their preferences and be true to who they are and living out their diversity. And one of the great tools for doing this in a really easy way is this idea of granting them beingness. I know that's a kind of an odd phrase. Jen says, it's so good we all get to choose and that we have different beautiful preferences. Yes, absolutely. So if you see someone else living out their diversity and part of you is a little like, oh my gosh, what is that? That's fine. That's a normal reaction. It can be, but if you can just take a minute to just bring yourself back in alignment, bring yourself back to where you're listening to your inner being and just say, okay, well, I don't prefer that. I don't prefer whatever it is. Sometimes people have a hard time with face tattoos. I don't prefer to have my face covered in tattoos. That's fine if that person does. That's them walking out their journey, their diversity. I don't need to judge that because I have no idea what their inner being is speaking to them. I have no idea what their journey has been. But I can grant them beingness, whether they're in alignment or not. Whether they're whatever, it doesn't matter. That's not really even up to us to judge. Granting them beingness is understanding, like Jen said earlier, that we all come from one source. We all come from one place, and that we are all on this beautiful journey together, sifting, sorting, learning how to hear from our inner being, learning our preferences, learning how to shine. Oops, I forgot to, let me just turn that off. Sorry, guys. Phone call in the middle of the live. We're learning how to shine in our own way and figuring that out. And you know what? Like, I can look back at some of my attempts to find myself, in quotes, and be like, ooh, you know what? I was trying in a place of contrast, in a place of push, in a place of strife, and it didn't work. But that was part of my journey, and I can so appreciate feeling those pieces of contrast and then knowing now what alignment feels like. So sometimes people are just there too. You might see something they're doing that's really off-putting to you, and understand that, well, you know what? They're sifting and sorting their preferences. Maybe they're not in alignment with their inner being or who they are, but I just appreciate that they're on their journey. And I appreciate times when I was on my journey too. So granting beingness is understanding that we all come from one place. We all have the ability to hear from our source and our inner being. We're all on a journey together, and that their expansion, as different as it might look from ours, is still a part of the universe expanding. It's still a part of our society expanding. And even in their contrast is putting what they want into the vortex, right? And their contrast is helping them realize the things that they want and they don't want through their emotions. And we just have to trust that they're going to hear it from source. They're going to get it from source. We also have to trust that we can allow them on that journey. We can grant them that journey without our judgment, without our saying, you have to be like me to be right. You have to think like me to be right. You have to believe what I believe to be right. That doesn't work. One of the things that we're talking about in this card is that if we really are pushing against and clamoring for one right way for people to live, we all know, we've read enough stories, we've watched enough movies, and we've seen it enough in our own life that doesn't work. But granting people beingness, letting them be where they're at, and then this idea with that of seeing them through the eyes of source. So that's the idea of, as much as you can, if you're in your space of alignment with your source energy, with God, in that place, it's a lot easier to see that other person through those eyes of love, through those eyes of acceptance, through basically, think of how you want your God to look at you. Think of how you want source to just love you, to accept you. You want to know that there's that stream of well-being that's there for you 100% of the time, that there is something that's helping pull you forward, compel you towards being the best version of yourself, towards walking out all of your hopes and your dreams. And if you can see the other person or people through those eyes, it's a lot easier to do this idea of granting them beingness, of, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to allow you to be on your journey. And that means a lot of times not correcting, not judging, not pushing back, just trying to find, like we talk about so many times, trying to find and observe the things that you appreciate. Don't try not to observe the problem. Try to observe the things that you can appreciate. And the people that can do that, it. Oh, so sorry, guys. I do not know how to turn off my phone while I am on Wi-Fi. So anyway, when you're in the presence of someone that just sees you for you. I mean, they see that inner you. Sometimes it can be like a coach or a spiritual leader or just a really good friend. They see you for you, and they don't really see, or they don't really pay attention or notice the other stuff. They see you and they appreciate, that inner you, that the best version of you. And it's not hard for them to see that because they're in their alignment too, And the more that we can be those people for others, right? The more that, that's us actually in our own alignment, finding who we are and what we love and trying to walk in that daily. And then that gives us the power to do that for others, to just see the best, observe the best, notice and appreciate the best. And man, that feels amazing when someone can do that for you. If you've ever had a really hard day and been around someone that could grant you your beingness, that could just accept you right where you are, that could see through whatever difficult thing it is or whatever catastrophe you may have brought on yourself or is manifesting at that moment in time, they see you anyways, and they just love you and they just accept you. Oh, it makes you feel so much better. That raises your vibration. It helps you come up and see yourself right through those eyes too. Jen says, yes, seeing other through eyes of source or your inner being, we can know that someone else's choice isn't for us, and still love them on a more general level. I love that. And hi, Jenny. Yes. So I love what Jen just said with, you can see them through eyes of source. You can know that their preferences aren't yours, and that's okay. Their preferences and their choices, they don't threaten you. That's just their choice. There's enough. This is coming from an abundance mindset too. If there's enough for everyone, it's all good. We can all find a way to work together. Looking at the solutions, maybe more, definitely more instead of the problems, but love them from a more general place. So if someone really offends you, and this happens, sometimes you see something that someone's doing and you're like, oh my God, like it's hard not to have that reaction sometimes, especially if you're not in a place of alignment or you get surprised. Try, like Jen said, try to come back to a place of love, but it can be in a very, very general place. And sometimes that general place is, we all came from the same place. We all came from God. We all came from source energy. We're all going back to the same place. We're all human beings doing our best to live out our lives on this beautiful planet. And at the end of the day, God has got them, source has got them, just like God's got me, just like source has got me. That person is supported in their journey. I don't have to understand it, but I can love that source is in them. I can love that there are things happening under the surface that I can't see. And I can love that their contrast is helping create a better world too, because by experiencing what they don't want, just like I've experienced, they'll start to figure out what they do want. And hopefully, in this lifetime, that those feelings will help them turn themselves around. They'll realize that there's ways to feel better. And I can appreciate that because I've been there too. That's part of starting to love people from a general place, right? Again, you don't like their behavior, that's fine. We're also not saying that you don't have to like anything, right? You don't have to like anything. A lot of our, what we talk about at BestLife is that it's okay to sift and sort your preferences. It's okay to know that I don't prefer that. I can grant you beingness. I don't have to like what you're doing. It's not what I choose for myself, but nevertheless, I'm going to grant you beingness. I'm going to say that, I don't understand, but I don't have to. I can just know that source is with you, just like source is with me, and appreciate your journey. So, again, the beautiful thing about diversity is that it means that we do have the ability to sift and sort for ourselves. We have the ability to choose. We have the ability to use our internal guidance system, our emotions, to figure out what we want. And when we feel inspiration from source, we have the freedom to follow it out. And knowing that when we stay in our alignment, that the support will be there for us. As we experience our diversity, as we move forward, anything that we want, anything that we've received from Source, if we can think it, there's a way for Source to bring it to us. There's a way for that thing to manifest. It's just a matter of staying in our alignment and walking that out. Jen says there's something very rewarding in loving someone who is from an outward space unlovable and not go into agreement with that which you do not like. Very, very freeing, very freeing. Yeah, so true. You can, you don't have to go in agreement, but you can still love. And that is so powerful. And it's so powerful for that person to experience too, because a lot of times, I think we feel like we have to agree with them to love them. That's not true. You can love people from a beautiful, non-judgmental, granting them beingness space where they can feel completely loved by you and supported without you agreeing with behavior or choices. It's awesome. Jenny says, when I see someone doing something I don't prefer, I remember that there are things that I like that others don't. Yeah, it's so true. And treat them like I want them to treat me when I'm the one that's different. It's so true. Sometimes we're the ones who are different, guys. Sometimes we're the ones that other people are going, oh, I do not prefer that. And that's fine, right? You don't want it. If you're in your alignment, you're happy with who you are, you're moving forward, then that's one of those times when you say, well, that's okay that we don't agree, but I'm going to stay in my alignment and move forward, right? So treat others as you would like to be treated. Jen says, I hope that makes sense. I remember, oh yeah, I have pretty unique choices too. Oh, I love that, Jenny. It's so true. And it is that, again, like the golden rule of treat others how you'd like to be treated, and that bit of self-awareness that sometimes I do things that, people don't prefer, and that's fine. I just get to live in my beautiful alignment, connected to my source, moving forward, and so do they. It's perfect. It's awesome. Jen says, yes, people feel energy whether they know it or not. Being loved always feels good. Yes, I love that so, so much. So let's just take a moment and we can basically just take a moment or two to appreciate diversity, to appreciate our connection to source and our ability to choose to be free, and to allow others their freedom as well. So if you want to take a deep breath, thank you, Source, God, higher power. Thank you for the basis of our life being freedom. Freedom to choose things that we prefer, freedom to choose things that we don't prefer, but maybe don't realize it yet. Freedom to like things and dislike things and sift and sort. Freedom to have life experience, where sometimes we're in the middle of a huge mess, and that mess helps us realize what we want and what we don't want. Thank you for the opportunities to move forward, to be forward focused, to, as we go along our path, decipher what we like and what we don't like. Thank you that every single experience puts more and more into our vortex. It puts more and more into that place where all of our hopes and dreams reside and are just waiting to become manifest in our lives. Thank you for diversity. Thank you for everyone's freedom to choose what feels good to them, what is right for them, and all of our ability to connect to you. That is a part of us that can't be shaken, can't be quenched, can't be broken, that you have a constant, unending connection to us. And it's just our openness and our ability to allow it that changes things. you don't change. Your focus on us, the stream of well-being on us, that doesn't change. Thank you for the power in focusing on solutions and on love and loving people from a general place. Thank you for the ability to grant people beingness on their journey, to appreciate their journey, as different as it might be from ours, to love them, whether they're in a place that is difficult for us to view or not. Thank you that every life experience has so much value. And help us today to see and appreciate the incredible diversity, our beautiful, varied planet, from all the diversity in nature to all the diversity in culture and all the diversity in religion and thought and even families and individuals. There's so much flourishing diversity around us. And thank you that we get to be a part of it, because it means we get to sift and sort and be free to choose what it is that we want, to find what rings our bells and to go for it. All right. That is it for today. Love you guys so much. Thanks for being here with me. And I'll see you on Friday. Have a wonderful, wonderful diversity-filled day.